group had to do this presentation, and they knew that Grace is not, her articulation is not that good, so they decided to subtitle the whole thing. So you know what she's saying because you can read the subtitles. That's a reasonable adjustment. Do any of these adjustments take any money? No, they just take some creative thinking. And what your thinking should be is, what's the barrier my child has? Not, what is my child's disability? That's not what you need to actually reframe how you're looking at things. What are the barriers within the classroom, within the environment that my child faces in order to actually do the learning, show the outcome. Now, just in the last couple of days, I've mentioned I've looked at disability standards in education again, but I've also been looking at the NESA website. And the NESA is the New South Wales Education Standards Authority. They sit above the schools. They're the people that actually run NAPLAN, run the HSC, credential schools and things like that. They're like the boss over the whole top of them. And they have,
What are they called again?
NESA, N-E-S-A. They have they have some good things on their website. So they've got a whole page on adjustments. And these adjustments they put into different categories. And they've got a whole bunch of different kinds of things that you can look at. So, and again, just mainly to give yourself ideas. So, kids might be needed to be supported in communication. They might need to be supported in reading, in listening, in viewing things, in excursions. And they've got lists of what are kinds of adjustments you could make. So communication. One thing, comprehension passages, multiple choice might work better than actually giving a written answer. One thing my daughter uses is clause passages. So they're a word bank that has, like 20 words, and you've got to fill in the blank into the sentences. Again, that shows your comprehension, but it doesn't mean that you're actually writing the whole sentence out. Writing the whole sentence out for her would be quite hard, but she's able to show her comprehension because she can insert the appropriate word there. Selecting photographs of pictures, selecting symbols, using communication device. All these kinds of things. They're actually on the NESA website. Use that as a resource if you're kind of needing to think about maybe what could I suggest to the school or whatever. There's lots of good things. Again, a lot of these things, it's not about money, it's not about funding, it's not about building anything. It's just about creatively thinking, how can we actually help? Is there a different way to actually structure this so that the child can learn and so the child can actually show what they're learning? That's the ultimate thing. The disability standards in education say it has to be, your child should have things adjusted, even in year 11. Even in year 11 and in year 12, the school should be adjusting things within the classroom for their learning and for assessment tasks. These things are things that are actually in the disability standards in education. So it's not about keeping up. Adjustments facilitate access. That's the key term, access to the curriculum. Okay? Group work, fantastic, like the video you showed you. My daughter loves group work because she gets to hang out with her peers, but there's hardly any group project where there's not a component where your child can actually contribute in some way. Sometimes my daughter has only just picked the photos to go in the PowerPoint, okay? But she's part of the group and contributing to it. Sometimes she makes slides, whatever. So the group work is fantastic. There's group work. Alex is a nuclei in the experiment. That's a great way to include him. Blending the lessons. Student goals don't necessarily have to be the same as all the other goals, but they might be learning to say new words. These goals are worked on as a way that blends into the lesson. This is Grace with her friends making a flood-proof house out of cardboard, which they then doused with water to see if it would still float, which it did. So again, her job was to take the photos for the presentation that came at the end. Peer supports, we've mentioned peers. Peers are really key. They have a great capacity to teach. When they teach, they learn themselves better. They know the content better. And they're great pathways to friendships. A lot of Grace's friends at school are because she's worked on group projects and worked with people. And they start to understand she's not scary, she's lovely, and she's a good person to be a friend with.